Sony absolutely dominated the 8th generation of consoles by providing some of the best platform exclusive games ever made. Uncharted 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, the list goes on. And they're looking to continue that dominance into the PlayStation 5, getting started by borrowing terminology from the film industry and branding re-releases of some of their best games as Director's Cut. Already this generation, Sony has been hyper-focused on their first-party branding, adding a new Marvel-esque intro screen before the main menu on all of their first-party titles. The idea of introducing some level of standardization of terminology to the industry is a good one, but the way in which Sony is doing it is, well, not so good. When you really break it down, Sony's new Director's Cut branding is yet another way of saying Definitive Edition. And while I appreciate the attempt, their usage of the phrase as a means of reselling games with minor performance upgrades to take advantage of the new consoles just flies in the face of Microsoft's significantly more consumer-friendly approach on Xbox. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to LegalSpeak, a Cold North production. I'm the Law Morris, and this is the video essay series in which I get to talk about the games I've been playing and what I think of the medium as a whole. Sony recently announced both Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut and Death Stranding Director's Cut for PS5. I'm going to end up buying Ghost of Tsushima for sure, but I'll be doing so reluctantly. So let's talk about these new Sony Director's Cuts. Essentially, what the whole Director's Cut branding on Sony games indicates is that this is a first-party PlayStation game that's being re-released with additional content. Both Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding will be coming later on this year, with an additional island to explore and more building mechanics respectively, just to name a few of the things being added. In the case of Ghost of Tsushima, that additional content can be purchased independently of the Director's Cut, but the Director's Cut also offers some content, like DualSense specific functionality, that's exclusive to that version of the game. In addition to making use of the DualSense hardware, the Director's Cut will also be able to utilize PS5 hardware like high-speed SSD loading and 3D audio. Let's face it, Sony isn't re-releasing Ghost of Tsushima with added functionality that takes advantage of the PS5 for their health. They're doing it for money. But that doesn't mean it's entirely negative. There are definitely some ways in which the PlayStation Director's Cut branding could benefit the industry at large. Relative to other mediums of entertainment, video games are just reaching adolescence, and as such are still defining their identity. Were Sony's attempt to standardize the terminology for video games to gain traction and begin to be used in the same or similar ways by other publishers, it could be another step toward the industry being taken more seriously in general and perceived as more than just a toy. But the term is helping in smaller scale ways as well. Repackaging these games in their Director's Cut form demands additional content in order to justify a full retail price to consumers again. As a result, there are games that previously may not have gotten any additional content, getting that content in order to justify the price. While there are a few good things that are coming as a result of this brand initiative, it's mostly bad. Arguably, the biggest sin these Director's Cut releases are committing is in the term being extremely misleading. The director behind Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima himself, tweeted, quote, "A director's cut in a movie is an additional edit to a shortened version that was either released reluctantly because the director did not have the right to edit it, or because the running time had to be shortened. In the game, it's not what was cut, but what was additionally produced that was included. Delectors plus? So, in my opinion, I don't like to call director's cut." End quote. With that in mind, it becomes evident that this new term is nothing but an attempt to double dip on some of their most popular games. The Last of Us originally released in 2013 on the PlayStation 3, and was then re-released a year later on the PlayStation 4 as The Last of Us Remastered, in a very similar way to how Ghost of Tsushima's Director's Cut will be utilizing the new hardware of the PlayStation 5 with DLC bundled in. The Last of Us Remastered was basically the same game that was already on PS3 with just very minor improvements made possible by the PS4, as well as the Left Behind DLC bundled in. The difference then was that there wasn't any evidence indicating that this would be something Sony would be continuing to do. The implementation of the Director's Cut branding, combined with it being used in such quick succession from Ghost of Tsushima to Death Stranding, leads me to believe that this won't be a one and done the way it was on the PlayStation 4. Having already gotten Spider-Man and now 2 more, it's clear that Sony plans to use this branding more in the future. What makes this new practice concerning is made infinitely worse when evaluated in the context of competition. With the exception of the bundled DLC, all the features of the Director's Cut versions of Sony's games are being added for free on Xbox, and that bundled DLC can be purchased independently by anyone that wishes to do so. Put simply, while Sony is charging $70 for new features, Microsoft is giving those features away for free. And while Sony is most definitely not going to forgo the revenue they'll be able to generate by selling their greatest hits again, they could still overcome the issue of the branding being misleading by resurrecting something old and leaning into the fact that these games are exactly that, their greatest hits. The industry undoubtedly needs a standard term for an edition of any game that is sold in this way. Something like the greatest hits term Sony has used in the past, or the more ubiquitous definitive edition, would do an excellent job of communicating exactly what is needing to be communicated while avoiding the confusion incurred from the dedication to evoking a cinematic expectation. Like I said before, I'll be buying Ghost of Tsushima, and honestly probably Death Stranding both, again. But I'll be feeling frustrated and bitter while I do. The Director's Cut branding is just another in a long list of ways in which Sony has proven themselves to be aggressively anti-consumer this generation. I'm thrilled to see the discord surrounding the Xbox finally moving away from the terrible Don Matrick TV days. TV. But I'm also just as concerned that Sony has moved away from the "this is how you share games on PS4" days.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
And people haven't seemed to notice. Only time will tell if this initiative falls flat, or if it becomes another mainstay in what seems to be the unstoppable juggernaut that is PlayStation, despite their own attempts to shoot basically every foot they have. Are you guys planning to buy either of the upcoming Director's Cut games? Do you feel like the added content and functionality justifies another $70? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget you can see everything I do all in one spot over at coldnorthpro.com. I'll be back next time talking about something else entirely, so until then, just go play some games.